Welcome, welcome to another episode of A Scotsman Talks To. I hope you're all doing well. I hope everyone survived. If you're in Calgary, we've had tornadoes, thunder, lightning, monstrous clouds. It's been really exciting, and of course, in the rest of the world is well, yeah. We're probably not going to go there because the rest of the world is just burning, as far as I can see. It's just getting crazy out there. And this is hopefully your little hour and whatever of joy and pleasure and hiding away from the craziness that is out there. We never saw the murder hornets, but we are seeing militia on the streets. I'm not going to lie, I've started a Patreon page. We're trying to set up a huge game of Mousetrap outside Washington. We're going to have a gold-gilded McDonald's just to see what we can trap in there. I don't know if it'll work or not. But tonight, we have an amazing guest. We have a gentleman who, you know what, he's just too damn handsome, to be honest. You know, I've been chatting to him a wee bit before the show. Ridiculously handsome, chiseled hair. Man, this guy's hair's just like, yeah, it's ridiculous. This is why I shaved for the first time in a long time. I thought I'd better try and make an effort to compete with this gentleman. But tonight's guest is Chengis Javeri, a wonderful Calgarian actor. He is basically fairly legendary. He actually came as a referral through a previous guest, and apparently virtually every other guest I've had on knows of this man. So tonight's guest on A Scotsman Talks To is the fabulous Chengis Javeri. So let's welcome him to the show. Chengis, how are you doing?
Hey, Calum, sorry, I'm just finishing just journaling.
Okay,
I'm
excellent.
so sorry. Thank you. I like to journal once in a while. Just get the thoughts out.
Yeah.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How's yourself? This is officially the first day we've spoken, so.
It is, but it feels like we're going to be fast friends / enemies. Now, when I looked up a couple times, see, now you're in a studio situation where you keep all your thoughts compressed, I assume.
Yeah, my padded cell.
But before, did I notice the flags? Did you have some flags? Did you have some?
Yeah, basically.
Are they just off camera?
They're just off camera. The story is I needed a backdrop for the show, and the one I ordered has been in transit now for 3 months. So right. I picked up these flags, and they are Scottish flags, but to be honest, they just feel a bit cheesy. And I'm saying that as a Scotsman.
Are you guys well known for cheese? You should talk to, what's his name? Jeff Amazon, if I remember right. That was his name. But you know, I ran off because I'd seen, obviously I'm a big fan of the show, and I've been watching it since I was exactly this height.
Amazing.
But I was like, oh, that son of a bitch has got a lovely flag. And then I wanted a flag representing, but it's too big. Look at this. Whoa. There's a country I came from. You know what? Maybe I'll just do that for a while. Just until it gets too hot, like now.
Drape it majestically over you. That's how it works.
Hey, how do you can you hear my chair squeak under my enormous weight? Okay. My extra COVID weight that I've been acquiring since oddly enough, before we had COVID.
Yeah. Anyway. I'm the same. I'm blaming it on COVID. And basically the reason I have my camera at this height, because basically underneath here it's just like Jabba the Hutt.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I'm doing Kegels under the thing, but that's just to keep it tight. I've been in a 30-year relationship. If there's any tips out there, please send them to me. I'll say it. Just the tips. Thank you.
Yes. We love it. Just the tip. Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, unfortunately, I'm only 4 years or so to a relationship. So, you know, I'm not the man to ask.
Lord, are you still holding on to, like, have you been doing tummy shames in front of her? Or are you holding them in? Do you go to another room?
No, God, it all hangs out. There's when you wear a kilt, there's just no way to hide anything.
I have a tickle trunk. No, that's the end of it. No, I was hoping I had a kilt in there so I could be I don't know, what's that word where you usurping someone else's culture? What's that? There's a
Oh, geez.
I wanted to appropriate it a little bit.
Misappropriate. Yeah, yeah.
Sure, misappropriate. Yes, that's it. Like that kilt is way too short. It
Yes.
just covers most of your bits.
And
Like,
it has been done many a time. Not
you
by
know,
me.
the kilt is fine. Just don't deep lunge. So,
Squats. It's always good.
squat thrusts. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Yeah.
I don't know where that's from. I've always had that in my head. You know, do you ever recall these weird things? You just say a phrase and you just say the thing, and you're like, well, what's that? Where's that from? Was it a cartoon? Did my best friend hit me with it?
Yeah.
Where's that from? And I've always had this thing where I'm like, speak in the Queen's English. I wish if anyone can find this out for me, please tell me. It's speak in the Queen's English, and it's squat thrust, everyone. 1, 2, 1, 2, and it's just there. That wasn't
it's going to
helpful.
be a Monty Python thing or something.
That maybe. God, I loved those guys growing up as a child when I had no friends. But all right. But you know, watching, I think the better half was yelling at our cat son.
Oh, right. Well, actually, I will warn you in advance during this chat. My wife is still at work, and normally she wrangles the cats and the dog. So there's a very good chance that I will literally have 3 animals outside my door pawing at it at some point.
Yeah, I see. Well, it's the fans, you know,
that's it.
And they have to learn to keep their distance.
I know, but
the
6 feet.
Oh, 6 feet, yes. 6 feet before this. And now go stand with the extras, please. Oh, come on, I was one of them. God bless them. God bless every last one of them.
Yeah.
Here's a pro tip. If you're starting a show, if you're making something and you're putting all that money into it to, you know, make this thing, and you want some free press. You want some free press. If you have a scene and there's 3 extras or something, hire 10. If you have a scene with a bar and you have 10 extras, hire 30. Because every one of those lovely, lovely humans will not just show up and stand there for 8 or 10 hours or whatever. They're gonna journal about it. They're gonna take photographs. They're gonna post it over the social medias, and they're gonna be, our movie is coming out on such and such date. And that is free for you as a filmmaker. All that is, that's just a granola bar. That's a granola bar and maybe a bottle of water, depending on how nice you want to be to them. Yeah.
Bottle of water? Why not just, maybe just a wee cup? Come on.
Just a wee cup.
Just a wee cup.
Depending on how good you can just spit it into their mouth, depending on how good they do.
Whoa, that's precious stuff. You could bottle that and sell it as a perfume to the masses.
Right.
So
can I? Oh yeah. Can I say I'm so jealous of your accent?
Go ahead. With actually a little bit of introducing yourself, because, okay, before we even begin, I should explain. Today we have had some wonderful guests, and literally this show I have no way of controlling now, because it is just becoming this beautiful monster and it's evolving. I have a set of questions that I like to ask my guests, but to date, out of the potential 12, I've only managed about 4.
I don't want to ruin your show, not through this. I'll sort it out myself on how to ruin the show, and then later you. I'm a jealous man, but do you? I'm assuming the questions, because I've seen the show, and I've seen Brendan and Gary something.
Yeah.
I think they're supposed to expunge and expound on. English is not my first language, so please forgive me. On those questions, but if you want to rapid hit them at 12, if you want to hit all 12, no. I will answer them in 2 minutes, and that is 6. I don't want to gang flash anyone, so sorry about that. But I will hit all the answers in that's 6 per 60 seconds.
That's we're not doing that. No, I refuse. Because
why not?
Because I've discovered it's so much better just to let you talk and let guests talk. And it means I don't need to do anything. We discussed this earlier. I am a lazy host. I don't want to work for my
Look, man,
my supper.
At some point you wrote down those 12 questions.
No, so I didn't.
Not that lazy.
No, I didn't. Okay. Before we get into it, because I think we will literally just get into everything and have fun here. I think
I
the
hope
first thing
so.
we should do is actually get you to introduce yourself to the
Oh,
audience. I mean,
okay.
who are you? Who is Chengis Javeri?
Very, very, very well said, sir. And that's how I think you should do everything when you're starting out like me. Uh, 10 long goddamn years in this business. Sorry, I meant 10 years of speaking. 13 years if you count, standing behind someone who was speaking. Um, but that's how you should just put your name into everything. If you can fit your name into things, just put them in, and they'll be like, why am I hearing so much about this Calum fellow? And it'll be something else. It'll be something else, but just slip it in there. Um, oh, sorry. Do you wanted to know my name?
I want you to introduce yourself and tell the
All
audience a
right.
little bit about you.
All
Come
right.
on,
Well,
people don't mind. Okay, heaven forbid people don't know who you are.
now, if you're talking about Southern Calgary and or the 3 block radius around Braeside, which is where we live now, then you'd be hard pressed to find someone who doesn't know me because I shovel a bunch of walks. Um, they don't know that I'm an actor, except for a few times where we've had green screen across the street and we filmed things, and I've apologized later. I guess I ran down the street in my underwear once. Sorry, pants to you, maybe. Um, so yeah, introduce myself. Sure. My name is Chengis Javeri. Not originally. I changed it. That's a story. We don't have to talk about that. I'm not from here. Paid my taxes most recently. Um, I've done some acting for a few years. I started out doing background. I come from parents.
I can tell you're going to be an absolute awkward sod tonight for fun.
Look. I'm an actor. So the first thing is I'm a moron. Okay. I say other people's words for money and sometimes not for money. So that's just that. So just give me a real quick off the side. Viewers, turn off right now just for a second. Turn away. Do something with your lives.
Okay, you've heard him.
I don't
Turn
know.
away for a second.
Yeah, work on your CVs or something. So just give me a quick thing. What have other people said? Like just a little, what type of things do they say in the introduction? They're like,
They basically, and well, you did you not watch Brendan?
look, I watch these people like I read articles. I skim them for my name. That's how I watch things. Okay, forgive me.
That's why you were annoyed at both Brendan and Gary. They never mentioned you once.
No, Gary mentioned me a couple times
Oh,
at
so
the
he
end.
did. So he did.
But yeah, I think he was mentioning it in the thing of where I was trying to take over his show, and
Yes.
his show is your show, but with more hair,
Yeah, yeah.
and a different backdrop. I'm not going to say better because yours looks like Lego if there was only 2 colors in the world. But
But the best
but yeah, no,
colors.
he mentioned me in a loving way, I think, but also in a he's keeping one eye on me
Mhm.
sort of way. That's fine. I've mentioned him more than he deserves now. Uh, so, so yeah, no. What did you want to?
That is brutal. Gary's so lovely.
I talked down to any single person I could fight in a proper normal fight. In a normal stand-up fight, no biting, certain amount of cussing. If I think I could take them, I shit on them
Okay,
in
what
the
about a
media.
bare-chested knife fight?
I wouldn't. Brendan's really like he's tiny and he's little and quick. I wouldn't. I don't like fighting tiny guys.
Yeah, they're
I don't like fighting
awkward.
guys. I like children. Bring a bunch of children over to me, and I'll smack them right.
Oh, no, seriously, no.
There's a.
Children are brutal. Have you not encountered kids these days? I
I'm
would.
not allowed near children.
Oh,
It's not a thing. It's a meters or a feet. It doesn't matter. I'll look it up. A number of years. I'm just going to talk about myself. A number of years ago. Am I too far away from the camera? And is that door weird? I've got a fan blowing on the back of
no,
me.
it's okay. I don't mind.
A number
Basically,
of years.
just let your wife know not to walk across in her underwear.
I will. I will. Sweetie, Calum's mentioning your underwear. That only took 12 minutes. Anyway, so a number of years ago, Chinatown, and that's still okay to say, had its 100th anniversary here. in Calgary, and they contacted the I don't know maybe seven artists, 7 or 8 artists in the town, and to do murals and such,
Hmm.
to celebrate that. And one of the muralists was Dean Stanton, who was a very famous fellow. If you go past that Sinalta school, he does this cartoony style with a real thick outline. It's often copied, but often it's him. So very nice chap, and met him there. But they there was an artist who dropped out literally the night before I called them. And I called them. I don't remember why I called them. I'd gotten a business card, and I was just like, "Oh, hey, I make things. I do little things. Do you want to whatever?" And just because this person quit or couldn't do it, I was out there and I did a 67-foot long mural for these people. I don't mean these people. You know what I mean? The people who hired you. And you'll cut most of this, right?
No, no, no.
Thanks.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm gonna get in trouble. No. So and I did this mural in summer, like bloody 25 degrees, and they made me work with about 14 kids. That was the worst experience of my life. Just the kids were like, I don't know, the youngest ones might have been 8 or 9, and then they got up to about 16. We had like 4 kids that were about 16. And the parents would just come by and they're like, "Here's my treasure, my child who bears my name. Can you look after them for 5 hours?" And I'm like, "I don't remember doing a police check, but all right,
Oh.
go over there, you little bastard." And it was just the worst. They were so quick and so fast, and then they have them for about 5 hours or whatever. One break, just get one break. No unions on that thing. And then they'd go home and I'd work for 4 hours or 5 hours until there was still light, fixing the crap they did, right? All the mistakes and all that stuff. But then, in a week's time, we had this mural, and I remember. Do you did you ever see Richard Gere and Deborah Winger, um, Officer and a Gentleman? Ever seen
Oh,
that movie or
yes.
heard of that?
The
80s.
iconic film.
Okay. So at the end of that, spoiler alert, guys, he walks into wherever she's working. It might have been a sweatshop. I'm just trying to, it's been too many years. And he's full whites, full like navy whites. And he grabs her and he picks her up and he walks her out of there like, I'm protecting you. I'm taking you home,
It's
whatever.
a very manly scene. I'm welling up just thinking about it.
Right, right. I'll give you a minute. I hope the audience turned back around and they're done with their CVs. So on the final day, and it was finished, we were going to have a big unveiling, and the mayor and all these people were going to, sort of show up. But it happened to be the Stampede Parade. That was the day, and whatever time it was, I'm on my little scooter. I don't drive the car. Sorry, guys. I'm a scooterist. It's not a word, but anyway, I'm bringing it. I'm trying to bring that to our world.
Yeah, I like it.
And I
It's
was
good.
driving there, doing about 60. So and I stopped at the parade because it was the parade, and every route I tried to get to Chinatown was blocked off by this parade. And I was like, do these people know I've done a mural and the mayor's gonna be there and this and that? And they're like, it's the Stampede, just shut up. And I finally found an area where there was these firemen, this big fire truck, this fireman, and I explained the situation. I'm like, man, I got 40 minutes and I gotta be there, and I kind of need to touch it up too. Like it's not, I mean, it's done, but it's not done. And I explained it to them, and these burly men who all came off calendars, I assume, made an opening about yay big. Where's the cam? There it is. But between the 4 seats deep, pushed all these people out of the way. And I pushed my scooter and I got on it and I drove through, but I couldn't go across to the other side. They had called to another fire group and they were down a little bit. And I was part of the parade that year, me and my scooter, and we got some cheers. We definitely got some, and I did the and
Everyone
I
knew
went
it was you.
across. Who knew? And I, I think it was just I look like a bear on a tricycle, and they're just like, oh, what are they celebrating? I don't know, diversity. Just shut up. I got to get to Chinatown, and I go into. And then another group of firemen kind of went, but they had to pull me up over, and in that second, after just being part of the Calgary Stampede parade, I felt a lot like Deborah Winger, and I looked in that man's eyes like he was Richard Gere, and
It's
yeah, I haven't seen him since, but
Oh, that's
up
a
here I have.
that's a beautiful, beautiful moment, man.
Yeah. So anyway, so I've worked with kids. Uh,
Oh, Johnny Summers is saying hello to us both.
hey, Johnny. Do you know Johnny?
Well, Johnny was my yeah. Okay, so we have just
Oh,
found out the guest who says he's watched all the shows clearly hasn't.
I said I watched 2 shows, and I will go through the backlog. If I only
Johnny's
had
my
some free
second
time.
guest.
Oh, beautiful.
And Johnny
Okay,
was, you know,
I'll have to
he was
watch
a
it.
bit mundane. He was a bit boring, pedantic. I mean, there was no humor. He was so dry and I mean, it was a
Yeah, you
snooze fest with Johnny.
you've described him. You've described him to a T. Um,
No, it was. It actually was. Johnny is the reason the show evolved really quickly because when we did the chat, it was literally just a tangent of fun and humor and stories. So
I should
yeah,
have
Johnny's the
watched that.
reason that this is the way it is now. All hail
I should.
Johnny Summers.
Nice. Oh, yes. So hello, Johnny. Um, so I feel like, let's see. I guess I worked with Johnny a little bit, but he had a role in something, and this was a number of years ago when I sort of didn't. So what was the film? It was Jonathan Joffe's film. It was mm, mm, Burlesque Assassins. Guys, this is my stress blanket, uh, and it might have come from an optometrist, but I'm using it to do this. What if I do that
Apparently,
right
you're
off
Johnny's
camera?
hero. I'm just letting you know.
You're you're
You're
Johnny's.
you
Oh,
are Johnny's hero.
now why is that?
I don't know. He's just saying it. He's. I think he's drunk. To be honest, he's typing a lot. Johnny doesn't usually type this much.
At any rate, we, you know what
Burlesque
I,
Assassins.
yeah, Burlesque Assassins, and he played again. Spoiler alert. I think a good guy or a bad guy. Is that helpful? I don't remember, but basically, I did background on it. I mean, it might be silent on camera. I had a sword. I fought the main lady. Tried not to. I took her finger. I took her wedding finger in my sword, but then she murdered me. And so I worked on it for about 5 days. But no, it was a hell of a lot of fun. And I think I had a jazz patch going into it. I had a little jazz patch for about 10 years.
Oh,
I don't know
lovely.
what I was thinking. I also used to wear acid washed jeans in high school, but that's a number of years ago, before Bill Cosby had done that thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, you
Oh,
could
yeah.
do those.
Totally.
You
Yeah.
could do that. But I shaved it off in that film. They asked me to come and play a different character, because I don't know, maybe they were cutting me out or something. And I shaved it off, and I came out, and they went, "We don't need that." And I was like, 10 years of growth. I mean, I had it for 10 years. It was probably 2 days of growth. Let's be honest. I'm very
Yeah.
hairy. So, why don't you talk for a second? No. What's the?
Did I not
So
tell you that I was just going to stare at you and make you talk? I was just going to be like,
what I was hoping for was that you were going to drink. If I remember, it was in Gary. You're drinking in a big thick straw, and then you just hard down the barrel.
oh,
That's what's. There it is. Oh shit.
there you go. It's the best I can
Woo!
do. I'm not an actor.
Gonna need a minute. So,
Anyway,
but you
right.
claim
Lots of
claim to be
people
a
here. Gary's
storyteller.
watching. Johnny's watching. This is wonderful. Your fan club.
I-
So Gary
I-
is saying he's your biggest fan. Oh my God. What is going on here?
Gary is saying that.
You've
Well,
got Johnny,
Gary's
you're my hero. Gary, I'm your
contractually
biggest fan.
He's contractually obligated to say that because he probably needs me to host his show again. I'm going to put myself on mute for 1 second. Look at this. Did anyone hear me singing the start of Archie Bunker's song,
No.
the show? No? Great.
No.
Great. Oh. Before we continue, I would like to hear you say, what do I want you to hear? Murder most foul. Could you?
Murder. You want the whole thing?
Yeah, please. It's 2
Murder,
words.
most foul.
Murder, most foul. Oh, yeah, that's it.
Can I
That's
just?
the shit.
This is something I had to say to Brendan and a few other people.
Oh, sure.
Just don't do the Scottish accent, please.
But all right.
No,
As long
just
as you don't do an Indian.
Oh no, jeez. No, never,
As long as
never.
you don't do
I
an
can't
East Indian
actually.
one.
One of the things that probably I don't. I follow the Sean Connery philosophy of acting.
Oh,
I don't know. I've mentioned this before. He was caught in an interview, and they asked him, "Sean, why do you always just play yourself? Why is it always just your accent?" And he looks at the camera and simply just says, "It's because I'm shite at accents," and it's
that's
true. I'm the
beautiful.
same. Absolute rubbish at them.
You know what? I don't even want to hear Michael Caine, who is, one of he's my absolute heroes. And
Fantastic. Yep.
He's been out here and I've just never gotten to work with him. But I've had friends who actually stood in for him and stuff like that. So
Mm.
they actually have a 1 second interaction with Mr. Caine, you're the best. And then he's, shuttled off. It counts though. It counts. Eye contact, it counts.
Yes.
But he's always been like, if you're doing an accent, that's not your accent. 50% of your goddamn performance is going to be on that. And then 50% is going to be what you should be doing, everything else. And so he hates doing them. And and obviously he won an Academy Award, I think, Best Supporting for Cider House Rules, and he's doing an
Mm-hmm.
American accent. And when I watch that, or Secondhand Lions, or there's a few, he just comes out and he's doing an American accent. I'm just like, I don't want to see it, man. And I've read a few of his books, maybe three of his books, Elephant Castle, like whatever. Um, what's it all about? Whatever. You're hearing his voice as you're reading it. I mean, perfect.
Well, he's got a very
There's no way
distinct
around it.
voice.
It's a great voice.
Mm.
Yeah, I used to. I don't think I want to try now, but I used to do the last scene of The Man Who Would Be King, which is one of my absolute favorite. It's
Great
John
movie,
Huston.
and probably not allowed to be viewed anymore.
Oh, maybe not.
Yeah, I
maybe not.
love
There's
The
enough
Man Who
things.
Would Be King. It's a great, great movie. Please, come on,
It's
go
the
for
end
it.
of no. Only now you gotta remember this is a very young Kane,
Okay.
a very young, very high pitched Kane. Now, will you do the? It's the end of the film where Sean, again, spoiler alert. It came out in 1974, guys. Just get with it.
Yeah.
Sean is like, look, we should have gone home as rich as kings and not wound up dead here. Do you forgive me? Right. So the line is, he says that, and he goes, "Do you forgive me, Peachy?" Peachy Carnahan. That's the other guy. And then Michael Caine does his little part. After the little part, Sean Connery comes back and he goes, "Well, it's all right then." Okay. So I don't know if you've got that now.
I think so. I'm not good
do
with
you
scripts.
forgive?
I'm now stressed.
No, don't stress. So it's just, do you forgive me, Peachy? And then after I say a word or two, it's well, it's all right then. And
Okay.
off to
So I'm starting, Emma.
If you want, but just give me a sec. What is it? Yeah, all right.
Have I to do this in my worst Sean Connery
This is
accent?
going to be terrible.
Okay, I'm going to try this as a worst Sean Connery ever.
I'm going to do a bad Michael Caine.
Peachy?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. What a shitty actor I am. I've not listening. And kids, if you want to be famous, never listen to the other actor on set. Just put that
totally.
down as a thing. Sorry, go ahead.
Right. You ready?
Thank you.
Focus. Watch me. Watch me. Do you forgive me, Peachy?
Oh shit. Do you forgive me, Peachy? He says, "Oh, okay, it's fine. I might have given you the wrong line. It's very close. It's very close. That I can and that I do, Danny, without lent and free of forethought." That's what he says. It's nice and high like that. And then you say,
"That's okay then."
Well, it's all right then.
Well, it's all right then.
Yeah, all right, fine.
Is that it?
This didn't work.
All that for that.
I know.
That's probably just like being an extra, isn't it? It's like
extras don't get to talk.
Oh, really?
They don't. They better not. They bloody better not.
Oh, geez.
My favorite is,
is that a cardinal sin?
Yeah, shit, yeah. So when I used to do extra-ing for those first 3 years or so, we'd sit in a restaurant scene, say, and it would be you and two other people you didn't know, and then the actors were doing their thing over there. Where is this goddamn camera? Excuse me. And what I try and do is make a conversation when they were still setting up and they hadn't gone to rolling, and you would just do some really quick little thing like, "Oh, hey, how come do you ever remember there was no black people on the Flintstones?" or something as innocuous as that. And they'd be like, "Oh, really? There isn't? I'm not talking about a movie. I'm talking about the '60s character. There wasn't. There was one Japanese character. It did not stand the test of time. But you'd do this. You'd have a little conversation between the two or three people, and then when they were going to start rolling, and they were like, "Now shut up," you could still pretend to talk because you kind of knew what you were saying. You kind of knew what they were saying. You kind of knew what the retort was, and you could do that. And so it looked okay as an extra because normally when you're like, oh, okay, I've got to talk to this lady, I've got to talk to that man in a restaurant, but we're not allowed to talk. They go like this. They do this, and the other person's like, and they're doing this, and it's just, and I can't not look at that on TV or something. I'm just like, I'm like, those guys are really giving it. Those guys are bringing it today. So I haven't.
So you're assessing, you're always reviewing. You're like, oh, I like that technique. The way that he moved his hand, that gesture was splendid.
I don't think I get that much out of extras anymore, except for a little bit of fun, obviously. But no, you definitely study, actors doing their thing, man. I'm watching, hopefully learning.
Good.
Because I'm not a class guy. I haven't done any classes. I'm not that chap. Does this still look good on camera?
Well, you know what? That brings me perfectly to wait a minute. Time check. 35 minutes.
What happens?
You didn't break the record.
Oh, what is 30? What is what is 35 minutes?
So the record with the first question not being asked or official question was, I think, oh my, it was 55 minutes, and then I think Brendan took it to an hour and 15 minutes.
Oh shit! Listen, mate. If you want, I will continue talking. But
it depends. Do you want the record?
No, not if it's an hour. If you told me it was 45 minutes or something, I'd be like, yeah, I can blink for. Do you know what I mean?
But you can't blink. This is going to go to a podcast. That doesn't translate well.
I blink real. Have you seen my eyelashes? They were built by people. They were built for people who crossed the desert. Okay, this keeps sand out of your eyes.
Oh, hey, these are
men shouldn't.
These are ridiculously long. My wife looks at my eyelashes and she weeps at how long my eyelashes are.
There you go.
When I flutter, tsunamis happen.
Okay. No, I don't want to break any. I don't want to break any records or anything. But actually, as I was saying that, my brain went somewhere for a second. But let's see, records, eh? Why don't we just stare at each other for a second and see what happens?
It doesn't translate. I've told you that.
Oh no, I mean we can talk.
Just look smolderingly into each other's eyes.
Yeah, something like that.
Just say random
Bloody
words.
Hell. Oh no, that's the best. Okay, actually, you've got to have to stop that because I won't be able to. That's something I've been told I can't do anymore. From the better half has told me, and God bless her, she keeps me grounded.
Mm-hmm. That's what they're there for.
I think she might have grounded me once, but she says I'm not allowed to open my eyes too much because there's too much white above them, and then I look like a crazy person. And you're doing it a bit.
I've got a huge big, I think my sister once said, "Stop staring at me with those big cow eyes." Once. They're just monstrous things, man. They're ridiculous.
Well, I guess it depends on what she was doing at the time. Maybe you should have stopped. I'm gonna unmic myself for a second.
Okay.
Boop. Just like that. I've touched the camera, and hopefully that's something. I don't know.
I should probably explain. The reason that Chengis is constantly adjusting his phone is because he's terrified that it's going to deactivate after 30 minutes. And we will be left with a blank screen and misery, and the tears shall flow. And I can't even think about it. It breaks my heart. What are you doing, man?
I'm showing you how not to wear a mask. All right? Look, you got it. You bought it. You went to McDonald's. You got the goddamn thing. And then you're like, I'm going to put this on my face. God bless you. Thank you for saving me and others. And, maybe you have some senior citizens in your life that you want to keep around. And then you do this. What is this nonsense? Just put it over your face like it.
Yeah. Wear it like a normal person.
Yeah. Like a normal mask.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you this first question. This is the first official question.
I might just leave and I'll come back in 20 minutes.
No, no, no. Damn you, man. You're staying. I've told you, you're in for this ride. You're in for
Look,
this
look, look.
roller coaster now.
When you were saying about the do I want to break a record of the first question? No, I want to break the record of answering all the goddamn questions.
We're not doing that.
That is
No.
the. Why are we not doing that?
Because I don't know if I've got them all. Because it's been so long since I've need to ask them, I might not remember them. Don't put me through this, man. Anyway, at the end, there's 10 quick questions I get to ask you.
Oh,
Oh, I forgot to tell you about that. Yeah. But you know about that. You've watched the show.
I have. I usually turn it off at that point because there's a countdown thing, and I get quite nervous.
Ah,
I'm in general, I'm just a nervous person, and I think most immigrants are. I think if you come to a country that doesn't want you here, you just have that thing of like, oh, there's a clock. Boy. Woo.
well, technically, I know how that feels.
Exactly. I'm assuming 4 years. Is that right?
Yes.
How long have you? Yeah, 4 years. Okay.
Still going through
So,
the process.
oh yeah, yeah, of course. Oh, are you planning to be here? Be here?
Oh,
Is
yeah,
this
I
going to be your
married
thing?
one of them.
Okay. Is it still 5 years for them? A
Well, no,
female.
because
That's part of it.
it's just a slow. It's not been. Oh, we're not getting into the. This is not about me. Stop doing that with your smouldering looks and your
No, no,
charm.
no. I was again. I'd bring it back to me, like everything, because I became a citizen here in 3 years,
Yeah.
which is not the right amount of years because it was five. If you landed, it was five. But the old man, being a smooth criminal, before Sade made that song, "Daddy was a smooth criminal." He learned that if you start a business in this country, maybe it was just Alberta, I don't know, but you start a business and it employs six or more people, they would give you a citizenship in 3 years. Apparently, we owned some sort of soup kitchen. I don't know. I never saw it. I certainly never went there. But yeah, I think we had a soup kitchen for 1 year.
Wow.
Yeah. And yeah, so I got here in 1980. Same year the better half got here, but she came through the normal way, England, and I came through the
Oh,
not
whoa,
normal
whoa,
way,
whoa!
England. Oh, what?
Did you marry an English woman?
How do you mean married?
Oh, sorry. Did you commit your long term
Yeah,
life to an
yeah,
English woman?
yeah, 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 yeah. A little Welsh though. They
Oh,
got
that's
that
okay.
weird
Right.
ass
Yeah, that works.
language. All right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, no,
She's a
no.
bit.
The English are fine. The English are
Oh.
fine people.
Well, it's funny because it depends on how old a person you're speaking to and where they came from. Because the English are fine now if you're 40 years and younger. Because now it's the Americans that aren't fine because they're doing what the British used to do. Do you know what I mean? So if you talk to someone who's 60 and from bloody parts of Africa and or India, you're going to get a different answer. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
how this shirt shrunk. Um, as an aside, that's not a
Tumble dryer
COVID.
happens a lot.
I heat the things up on high, and I don't know if the audience can see my sleeves, but I'm going to show you. Which arm is this? There it is. Check this out, guys. I do like to roll up a sleeve. I just do.
Yeah, I do the
I don't
same.
like a short sleeve. I don't like a short sleeve. I like a long sleeve that's rolled up twice. But check this out, guys.
I'm the same.
There it is. What in the? Look, what the? This is useless. This is a useless shirt.
But then when you roll it up, it's perfectly fine.
It's a little high. It's a little high.
Oh.
I don't actually like
Oh,
my
you
wrist.
like it to be at that level where it accentuates your forearm.
It looks like maybe you've got something here,
Mm.
and then and then the test is that they come up and they grab you, but they're not allowed to do that anymore. Actually, I was saying that to someone like, do you remember before this when we could just walk up to strangers and grab them? That never happened.
Yeah.
That was never a time for that.
It's the reason I'm in Canada.
I'm still apologizing to people.
Oh,
for
look,
that.
okay, I need to stop this interview for a minute. Gary,
Yeah.
he's paid you enough. You don't need to keep complimenting him.
Why doesn't he ask a question? Why is he
Look,
complimenting?
I'm going
I
to
don't
put this
see
on
any
the
of it.
screen. I don't know if you can see
Yeah.
the screen.
Looks like you've been working, you piece of shit. I'll have you know, because I was filming something yesterday that I filmed a year that I started a year ago, and this is the first time I've been on set. Like I've worked about 4 times since but I haven't. I've done some booth work and some other. First time I had to work with actors, um, and I had to look like I looked before, so I shaved my hair all off the sides because that's I was playing a cop, and I stopped cutting my hair at the front. I don't want to say bangs. What do men have? I'm probably not asking the right person.
Well, it
If
kind
there's
of
someone
looks
out there,
quiftastic.
all right. Thank you. But whatever men call the front of your hair, whatever that is, I stopped cutting it months ago. So it was down to bloody here. And I had to put pins in it up top. And so I cut off this much of it, day before
Yeah, I
yesterday.
can
I
see
had to
that.
color my bloody hair. I had to color it to match this character. Hopefully it'll wash mostly out tomorrow or day after because it's like I'm not used to this not being gray.
Mm.
Anyway, so Gary should ask a question and stop talking about how
Oh, no,
fat I
no.
might be.
I should ask a question.
All right, if you must.
44 minutes. You've done
Now
really
wait a
well.
second. Now hold on a sec.
Okay.
Is it 50? What was the exact bloody time?
I have no idea now.
No,
It's
you
got
have
to
to
the
know.
point that I can't remember. I'm pretty sure Brendan blew it out the water with something stupid, like an hour and 16 minutes.
I'll forget it. Ask me the goddamn question.
Oh, wait a minute. There is a question coming through.
Oh, sure.
Gary McLean is asking, how long
does
does it take you to prep your hair before the hair and makeup people start on it?
Okay, now this is a bit of contention because I generally do my own hair, and I'm talking about any set. I don't care how $20 million TV show, $7 thing filmed in your neighbor's garage. Um, there's a motorbike happening by my open window. Anyway, so not a scooter either, because I can tell those things because they sound like bees being crushed.
Mm.
So I generally do my own hair, and I've been on. How long does it take? Okay, let me answer this by math. It takes me 22 to 26 minutes to shave because if I've left
Okay.
it for a day or two, I use the mustache cutter first, down, then up against the hair, then then the actual shaver, down, then up, and for camera, then the goddamn razor. Oh, then you lather up and the whole thing. And I've stolen my dad's. He's not with us anymore, and I've stolen his. The little. I've never felt more like a man. And kids, that's not for ladies so much, but for gentlemen, little young gentlemen. You're never gonna feel more like a man than when you put the brush into the thing and you go soapy, soapy, soap, and you just that's it. It's that burying your dad and probably one other thing that I don't know. Hasn't happened yet. These are the things that makes a boy feel like a man. So
Well,
anyway, so I'm out there, and so then I shave properly with a blade, and it's 27 goddamn minutes. But the hair, if I've stepped out of the shower and it's still damp and clean, if it's clean and damp, 3 minutes is too long. 2 minutes? But then you gotta wash the shit off your hands. Can I swear? I'm
yes. Oh,
sorry,
God, yeah.
Calum. You've got to wash the shit off your hands, and that takes seconds as well. No, so it's about 2.5 minutes, maybe 3 minutes if you're being lazy to do the hair. But the shaving is the bitch. It's just, and the old man was right. You're watching as a child, you're watching your dad. I mean, not your dad. I'm watching my dad. And you're in the shower and you're like, what are those? And he's like, easy. And then he, adjusts himself. But he's shaving. And I'm like, Daddy, I want to shave. And he's like, it's the worst. You don't want to shave. And I'm like, no, I'm 6. I'm a man. And then he does the fake shave. Did you ever get that? The fake shave where they lather you up? No.
No.
Oh, man. He picks you up because he's a big man. He picks you up. He puts you on the counter. So you're standing on the counter because you're a little man. And he gets that. And then he takes the razor and he removes the blade. And so it's just the hard edge, the metal edge. And you've got it looks it makes the perfect It makes all of that. And of course, he's applying pressure, because he never wanted you. And so he's applying pressure to your face a little bit. And you feel like, oh, I shaved. And that's when you're 6.
Mm.
Now, when you're 10, then you shave for reals if you're Greek or whatever the fuck I am. Because that's when I started shaving. So I was in grade 6.
Okay.
And
Well,
I had that beautiful little, that the ladies get, like the really pretty ladies from not this part of the world, and they get that wispy, and you're just like, I mean, I wouldn't say no. I have to now, obviously, because
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah.
have to say no now. But as a 17 or 18 year old, I would have been all over that stash. And so, yeah, as a 10-year-old boy, I had that beautiful little. You couldn't comb it. I guess you could just you could lick it in place.
Mm.
Not that I had anyone to lick it,
Mm.
because
Okay. Now it's just
that's when
getting
the
a wee
look
bit
started
weird.
fading.
It's
That's
getting
when the
weird.
look started fading at
Yeah.
about 9
So
and 10.
I actually need to compliment you here because I want to thank you for making possibly one of the most mundane questions that we've ever had asked on this show. Yes, Gary, I'm looking at you now through the camera as well. And thankfully, my guest turned it into a beautiful little anecdote. And also an educational piece for the young gentleman who may be still waiting to shave.
Absolutely. There's a barber shop in town. I don't want to. I've done some commercials for them. I think it's Best of Seven, and they might have a couple locations. But there's one downtown, and I shot what I thought was. Oh, hey, I'm going to throw them under the bus. I thought I shot 2 commercials for them. One very interesting one where I was the camera. Like they kind of. I was behind the camera, and They spoke to me as the camera, and then when you look in the mirror, then it's me. So it was actually quite difficult but interesting. And they
Mm-hmm.
have a lovely staff downtown, lovely staff, and they're all very beautiful. That doesn't matter. That's neither here nor there. They're good with their hands. So I go in and I do what is 2 commercials. They have a back room as well. And why the hell am I talking about the barber thing?
Because we just discussed
But you know,
shaving.
but you know, oh yeah, there's a back room in there, and they have 100-year-old uh, a barber chair. I mean, it's massive. It looks like looks like the thing that you like in Texas when they zap you and they're like, "You've been
Oh
terrible," and
yeah, yeah.
then you're gone. It looks
Well,
sort of
not
like
from
that,
experience, but yeah.
right? Um, and it's beautiful. And there's this little room back there, and it's like a speakeasy. And you go in there, and they have lovely scotch and all these things, and they will shave you the way properly, where they put all the hot towels on you, and they've got that razor thing. But I shot 2 what I thought was 2 commercials for them, and they cut it in a way, and they got 3 commercials out of it. But still, they're lovely people, and I was paid, and apparently I am allowed to go back and get shaved at some point, if they remember me. But why was I talking? Why was I talking about? Why did I bring that up? The Best of Seven barber people. I don't remember now. I
It's
bloody
okay.
don't remember now.
It was lovely. I enjoyed it. I actually watched those commercials on your
I
site.
I had to throw a hat on a thing like James Bond, like the real James Bond. I'm talking Sean Connery.
Hmm.
I had to throw a hat
I saw you do
onto
it.
a bloody thing and have it land and pretend like I do it all the time. So there was no cheering in my face.
Well, the angle was from behind, so we couldn't see the smile on your face.
Ah, lovely. Well, I guess I've done that for another film too, some film noir thing where it was actually about 10 feet, and it was a room full of extras just dying of the heat, going, could you just hit the thing? And I think I got it 3 times out of 20.
Wow.
And one of the times you could tell my entire body went, yay! They couldn't
So
use it.
basically, if put in an Olympic sport, you are not going to be representing that sport.
I could not hat tosser, just tosser. Maybe not hat tosser. I could do that. But again, I don't want to ruin my amateur stat. No, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
Right.
Anyway,
We're doing
I don't
it.
want to
You're getting this
stretch.
question. Shush.
I don't want to stretch this any further. Give me that goddamn question.
You know what? Go for another 3 minutes and you'll get second place.
All right. So again, listen, kids. When they hire you for a job, first of all, accept the job. If you're just starting out, accept the job. If you've been doing it a few years, accept the job with also some stipulations, but don't make them stipulations. Be like, oh wow, I love that restaurant. Um, oh gosh, that's a one. I'd love to do a commercial for the whatever. Are they giving us any vouchers? Just say that. Say the word vouchers, and you don't know what you'll get. Do you know what I mean? And also, you can cut your agent out of that. Sorry, agents, but you're not. I'm not giving you 15% of a meal. What are you gonna take 15% of my steak? Don't do that.
Yeah, that's rude.
Also, never throw away food. And speaking of which, steak for a second. I did a car commercial that never aired because they decided we were too. It was too silly. It was just too silly. They went some other way. But I had to beat a steak. So they gave me the little mallet, and I had to beat a steak. And then when they got what they thought they needed, I said, "How crazy are you allowed to?" And, oh man, we want you to go crazy. And there's some hot sauce. And so I did it to the point where I thought they had what they wanted. I went in this beautiful house, modern house, and I've got the steak in front of me. And so at one point, I headbutted the steak, just headbutted the steak. And then I took the hot sauce and I squirted it. And I'm not good at things. Somehow, though, I squirted it right in my mouth and not in my eyes. And there's just me just screaming at the top of my lungs, going, ah! Headbutting the steak. And then I picked it up in my teeth. And it was a big, beautiful steak. And they had two of them on set. When we were done, I asked them, because I'm from the third world, I said, hey guys, what are you guys doing with this steak? What's the plural of steak? Steaks. What are you doing with these steaks? And they went, nothing. And I went, do you mind if I take them? And they didn't. So kids, seriously, if you're doing something on set and you can, just take the item. Ask first. Don't steal. Don't be a thief. Don't be a thief. Somewhere back there, I've got Tim Roth's pen. That's a story for another day. Don't do that. Ask. Just ask, and then take the item because it's part of your pay. And in some cases, it's your pay. Because as I said, I don't know if we should do numbers here, but I've been paid well for a few jobs. Like the kind of work you're like, oh, that's a month's salary if I had a normal human's job. And then I've also done jobs where I'm like, look, man, you guys have no budget. I want to do this. I love this part. I love you. This is great. Thank you so much. I'm free on Tuesday. What do you need on set? Two bananas. 2 bananas is all I need. And then they go, yeah, you're going to get your 2 bananas. And then you get to set and some son of a bitch is eating one of your bananas. That's the least amount of pay I've had.
Yeah, so kids, and I would have rampaged.
You would have rampaged.
Oh, that would have been it. I'd have destroyed everything. Who ate my banana? I'd have lost my shit.
Dude, that happened 3 years ago. I'm still this is me coming down from the rampage. I'm still talking about it.
Okay.
Have you ever seen sorry, bananas, just for a second.
Yeah, go for it.
There's a Mr. Bean, and I apologize, I believe he is English. There's a Mr. Bean. At some point I'm gonna have to close my window, or you're gonna see the A-Team, an A-Team bed sheet, which the better half has made a curtain for me. It's just come whapping and hit me in the face, straight from the 80s, which is kind of where I come from.
Yeah.
So Mr. Bean, he was doing the eating thing, and he was having a contest with this other gentleman, and he was at a hotel, and he was just starting to eat. And the other man wasn't in a contest. Mr. Bean had just made this contest in his own brain, one of those, and he had taken 2 sausages and he shoved them in, and he was just like, So one of my trips to Mexico, I'm still allowed there. We're at the airport, and I have in my knapsack 2 of the largest bananas you've ever seen, like cartoon size large. I'm not going to do the shape for you because there's a camera here, and I assume there's some ladies watching. But I had 2 of these bananas, and they're in my knapsack, and we go in the line, and we're standing there in the line, and like we're going into customs. Oh, my curtain almost came at me. All right. So I'm going to be very close to the camera for a second, guys.
That's okay.
And later I might even close that window. So sorry. It was just B.A. Baracus just coming right at you, like,
terrifying.
Mr. T.
Or it could be a dream. of yours? We don't know. Don't want to judge.
It could be a dream of mine. Having a 1980s Mr. T at me. You know what? I would have liked that actually, because I dressed up like Mr. T in the 80s. Um, and I even knew back then not to do blackface. I knew
Good
not to. I
man.
did the
Good.
beard, faux hawk. I had my mom's chains. Dad cut a vest for me. No guns, and I was like walking around. I guess I did the voice, but forgive me, it was like 1984 or something. So I'm at the front. I'm getting close to the front of this line, man, and we're gonna go through the gate, and there's all these signs. Hey, if you have fruit, if you have your, we're gonna put you in Mexican jail or something. And I'm like, oh God, no, no. And I don't want to throw away food again because I'm not from here. And I
Yeah.
pull out the bananas. I'm like, who wants, and I'm there with my uncle, my cousin. I'm like, hey man, did you? And I don't want that. I'm like, come on, it's Canadian grown. Probably not, probably from California, but And I start saying and we were in front of the 80 people. We were actually sort of gotten to the front of the line, about 80 people behind us. And I start saying, does anyone want the bananas? Anyone, please, I can't throw it out. And then someone in the back, look, eat it. And I was like, yep. And I opened up both bananas as we're walking, and we're about two people deep, from the front. And I full on Mr. Beaned it, and I just jump, and I'm like, oh my god, and and people, they're cheering. They're like, yeah, come on, man, come on, you can do it. I'm like, oh my god, doing this whole thing, and I got and I got about that much left, and I'd taken down that of two, and I was at the end, and the security guards are there with their guns and stuff. And they're like, Senor, yep, thank you so much. There's a round of claps, and I go in.
I
Um,
like it.
I wish that was my one banana story. It is not.
Oh, wow. So
Um,
there's a whole plethora of banana stories.
I thought you were going to say a whole bunch. Oh,
Oh,
you're
no, no,
so
no, no.
close.
No,
You're
I don't go
so
for that. Now,
close.
okay. I still need to ask you my first question, but I'm a bit
Oh, please do.
concerned about something. And I'm going to put this question on the screen
Calum, please
because
do.
it's from your biggest fan. And
Oh,
I'm
no, I'm
getting a
going to hit
bit
that one.
worried about the relationship here.
Okay. Have you ever shaved your entire body? Is that a weird question? Look, Gary, it's only weird if we make it weird. That's the first thing. What have I shaved? No, no, I'm not a swimmer and or a bicycle enthusiast. I've not shaved my all-togethers. No.
Yeah, but I want to know why Gary needs to know that.
Well, because as you know, he is a talented host, as you
Yes.
are, and questions are his life. And that's it, man. He can't turn it off. And we as an audience, as a group of humans are like, you can turn it off.
Yeah. Okay.
But
For,
no, but no,
I'm going.
no. He's
I'm going for it now. Okay.
Go for it, please.
Brace
We
yourself,
hit an
laddie.
hour. We've
You've
hit
done
an
well.
hour.
There's second place behind your favorite person in the world, Brendan
As
Hunter.
I listen, as I should be, because years ago, old Brendan was the man in town working on independent and non-independent films. When I started, basically, he was doing it, and he will not like this story. He will not like the story, but he was working like 2, 3 times a week. Do you know what I mean? Like he was the guy, and I was doing background, and and I remember I saw him twice in one week on two different projects, and it's all for friends. There was a some then younger filmmakers, now more successful filmmakers. One of the guys is named Luke Black, a beautiful, beautiful man on the inside, and he's in Toronto now. and
Oh, that's just what a burn.
no, he's lovely. And he was making a film, and some other friend of ours was making a film, and Brendan knew these guys, and they were very happy to have him on set. Like they weren't doing a favor to him for him being in their production. It was almost the other way around. I can't remember which one, whatever. And Brendan kind of just came in, and you've talked to the guy. He is sweet.
Oh,
He
lovely.
is genuine, genuine. I've seen him in low moments, and he is still like, I'm sorry, am I talking too much? I'm sorry. He's still that human.
Yeah.
And he in a very human way looked at me, and he just seen me on this other set where I was standing in the snow, ice cold. It was some hockey movie or something. I'm sitting on the bench freezing, total extra. And now he sees me in this other thing that another friend is making, and he goes, "Hey man, could we maybe to Luke? Hey man, can we give Chengis can we give Chengis a line or something? Can we find him a little something?" You know, he said something like that, and it came from a beautiful place. Now I've told Brendan this story, so I feel fine saying it out in the world. And I was just like, "Oh, that's cool. Um, who the fuck do you who the fuck do you think you are?" You know what I mean? I took it from this whole other. I was just like, I don't need no scraps, sir. You know what I mean? And it hurt me. Like it personally, I was just like, what? What is going on? Because I didn't know. I mean, I bumped into him a little. I didn't know the man. You know what I mean? I just knew he was starring in the show, and I was not. and and so a couple of years later, he was producing a very big film for us in town. It was like $1 million production, 1.2 million actually. They claimed it was 1.5 million. Upper management problems, and I became one of the investors. And I'm like, I don't need the government to look into my books because whatever that's going on there, man. But anyway, I was an extra in it. I was silent on camera. I was 8 days art department. I made shields, swords that they ended up breaking, and one of the investors in the show. But so before all that happened, they were doing a table read for this thing. So there's no movie, there's no nothing. They're still trying to get money together. They're still trying to whatever. And they did a table read, and somehow I got invited to it because they had heard that I was sort of funny.
Yeah. Hello? Oh dear, I think we've frozen. Mid speech, he has frozen. Let's see if we can work it out, folks. Technical difficulties always do happen. Oh, here we go again. Is he coming back to me? You know, he didn't touch his screen, ladies and gentlemen. That's what went wrong. He forgot to touch his screen again. And his phone did cut out, as he said it would, after 30 minutes of conversation. So if you just give me a moment or two, hopefully we will have our guest back once he registers. I'm going to just do that to give him a chance to get back. Oh. Well, let's hope he hasn't been struck by lightning or his B.A. Baracus. No, we have completely lost him from the feed. Hopefully he'll pop back in a minute, folks. As I say, I hope he hasn't been destroyed by his window and blanket attacking him. And we will have him back. I thought he just paused for dramatic mood when he said funny. And then I actually looked at him and realized, nope, he is gone. So we will give it a couple more seconds and hopefully our guest will be back with us. Here he is.
No, that was so long, sir. Were you on the whole time?
Yes. Yeah.
And could you hear me or see me the whole time?
We lost you at funny. Someone thought you were funny.
Right. So that was a while ago. I've actually, I'm just, how about a tour of the house?
Yeah. What happened? Was it you forgot to touch your phone?
No, it wasn't that. It literally just sort of went away. Now, I don't know if I should start on the laptop or if I should just do this in an hour if it goes away. If it goes away, we'll just do this again, which is me jumping out and jumping in. You know what? Let's go have a look over here for a second.
Yeah, let's do the house. Oh, look at that. He's got light. How sophisticated.
Check this out. I don't know if you'll be able to see this, kids, but it's all these lovely... Hold on. The wife is hiding because she thinks I'm facing the camera at her. You know the camera's on me. These are some of my animation cells. So we have the Star Treks, Tarzan, He-Man, Black Star, and other. It's Shazam. I'm just going to walk you upstairs now. Hold on.
Yep.
Oh, that's Flintstones, the first Flintstones comic. And Spider-Man from the original movie from 78 or 79.
You like your comic books? I saw a post.
I'm a terrible nerd.
Oh, that's good.
I'm a terrible nerd. oh my goodness, that really that was terrible, man. Now I'll tell you, something has happened in the past on Zoom, which I know we're not doing. It's kicked me out. Oh, thanks. Thank you. I'll explain that later.
Okay.
So on Zoom, it kicks me out at 30 minutes and it automatically brings you back. So it's 40 seconds, 30 seconds. And so at some point I couldn't see you or me. And I was like, oh no, that's, you know what I mean? Like if I could still see you, I was like, oh, sure. Okay, if this happens again.
I don't know. I honestly don't know what happened. It gave you this spinning circle of death for a while.
I apologize.
No, gosh, not your problem. So you were saying, you finish your anecdote.
Oh,
because people are on tender hooks.
There'll be an asterisk next to this. So I somehow I'd been thought of as a fellow who is slightly funny or can come up with certain things. So I got invited to the table read, sort of upper management, I think, to listen to the movie. And you know, we sat around there, and I got to see actors who were really vying for parts. Like they weren't the actors in the movie. Shit, I've lost you. But I've lost you, here. But I can see me.
Can you hear me?
All right. I'm going to the laptop.
Okay.
I'm going to the laptop. I'm going to the laptop.
Can you hear me though?
For a second.
No. Okay. Okay, we're going to the laptop, folks. We're going to the laptop. The laptop's audio was a wee bit quieter. That's why we thought we'd try it over the phone tonight. But obviously, technical problems. This is the issue with COVID, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, we can't do it face to face. My studio, I would still need to work out if I can actually fit 2 people in. He will be back with us in a moment. He just needs to reconnect to the software. I don't know if I could fit 2 people in side by side. I think it would get incredibly warm in here, but we will basically be doing that in the future when we can reconvene as human people side by side. Although I think, yeah, I don't know. Figure it out. Figure it out when the time comes. So we're just waiting on Chengis getting back to us. These technical things will happen. Gary McLean, who's done his show, he has had many a technical thing happen. We've been in discussions about it. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, and I'm not going to do this again. I am going to hang up on you, though.
Okay. You swapping over?
Because in a minute or so, when I figure this out. Now, yep. I wonder, do you think I can just go to that link and jump on the laptop, or do I have to sign out and then, or do you think I can do double?
No, I think you should be able to jump on in the laptop, and I may be able to have twice of you on the screen for a couple of seconds.
No one wants that.
Wait a minute, I'm changing the screen setting because I'm interested to see if we'll actually get double you on the screen.
Enter broadcast studio. Let's see. Shit, that's something.
There we go.
Oh man, that's a sign of...
But we're going to have to, we'll pull you off one because you're going to get terrible echo.
I'm not doing that. This
is
how we're doing the show from now on.
You're coming through like a robot.
All right, fine. I'll jump off the phone and I'll plug you into the other thing. Okay?
Yeah.
So weird.
Oh, wow, I just discovered a new feature.
Hey.
I could actually have you on triple screen. Oh, that's fantastic. I'll need to remember that for the future.
Oh, there you go. There's your voice.
Okay.
My wooden box.
So now you just need to reposition your head.
Now, hold on a second. Guys. There's my cellular telephone. And here's the tape that I promised. Some tape on there. Okay, I'll reposition my head. No. Oh. Hold on. Oh, yeah. Whew.
This is good. This is good. I was just saying, Gary does a similar show, and he's had many a technical issue because trying to do live streams. So, you know, I had a technical issue this afternoon, couldn't get my camera to work. I was panicking. Then I discovered I hadn't plugged it in.
All right. So there you go. Now, how loud and or quiet am I?
You're quite quiet vocally, so you might need to come a wee bit closer to the screen this time.
I'm just putting it on my face.
Yeah, that's fine. That's your head. That's your... you can't even script this. This is beautiful. Okay.
Now, here's the fun part. I can see how wrong this is.
So, I'm going to have to direct you. You're going to have to take it. Yep, stop. And now, down a wee bit.
But my knee's only...
There. Oh, no! Of course, because on the screen, I can see your whole head. But in this... I wonder if this might make it better.
Oh, look at that. Whoops.
Wait a minute, I'm going to have to zoom in now. Wait a minute. Manual zoom. That was my noise for zooming.
I'm done. I'm done. I've been up and down the stairs. This counts as cardio now and not just an interview.
Okay. Breathe. Are you fine now? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Just give me a sec. I'm just letting the clock tick. Because even though...
No, I haven't finished the story.
Okay, yeah.
And there's going to be asterisks next to this, obviously, because of the double breakdown. But anyway, so I had gone there to listen to a movie and to help if there was any story problems, missing bits, or some jokes. That is why I was there. Mm-hmm. And I walked up into that place, and Brendan happened to be at the front door. He just happened to open it. There you go.
Yeah, get the hair in.
And he happened to open the door, and so hey, hi. And he said something like, he was like, oh, we've got another actor here. Because, he was separating the actors who were going to read the table and the other people who were going to be listening to us or whatever. And it was just something as simple as that. It was something as small and simple as that, where he just said, oh, Chengis is here. We have another actor here. So you must be on that side of the room. Do you know what I mean? You must be going over there where the actors are. And it meant the world to me. It was like, oh, he sees me as an actor.
Yeah.
Even though at that point I hadn't. Maybe I'd done one or two things with lines where maybe I'd done one or two things. But it was still, I was a background guy. And then it occurred to me when I thought back, I was like, oh, this man wasn't being mean. He wasn't joking. He wasn't putting me down in any way. He saw a person and he was like, oh, this guy's working really hard and getting nothing in return. Can we throw him a line? Can we throw him a bone? Can we do something for him? And then I realized, I'm a shitbag and he is a lovely human. And that was it, man. You know what I mean? And we finished each other's sandwiches, right? From then on. But no, I told him the story, and he was like, oh my goodness, you didn't. But, like a lot of our really good friends are people you don't at the first meeting, or you clash. You just don't have that whatever it is. But later, you're like, oh, those are my best friends. So that's how I feel about it.
Yeah,
anyway,
lovely.
I am very sorry about the technical issues.
Oh gosh, don't worry about that. Don't worry. No, look, you're here. You're handsome. You're entertaining us.
I look better on the other camera, and I feel it's shot low and weird, and I don't love what my face is doing.
Stop being so fucking vain.
I'm gonna stare at you. You do know it says actor on my CV, right? Actor/vain.
Yes, I know.
It's
I know. I'm brave doing this because my mother actually turned to me once and said, "I've got a face for radio."
Listen, man, my mom was a model, and she one day looked at me when I was about 30, and she said, oh, and she stopped. And she was like 16 feet away from me. She just stopped and goes, oh, your hair has lost its luster. Mommy, no. What do I say to that, man?
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. Hair losing its luster.
It's luster. It's like, oh, you still have it. I just hate it. You know?
Okay, can I just say,
yeah, go ahead.
Congratulations. You've done it. Even with the technical issues, we're counting it all. 1 hour, 18 minutes with actually out an official question being asked.
Listen, I want to congratulate you, first of all, for being so kind in allowing something as silly, as absolutely silly as that. I did at some point tell Mr. Brendan, and I'd like to congratulate him as the going out fellow. I did tell him I wanted to be 25% as successful as him, and God damn it if I didn't get there some years ago. But he has been doing too much voice work now for me to catch up. So now it's terrible.
Yeah.
But anyway, yes. What do I win?
Nothing.
Oh, wow.
Nothing. Johnny thought he was getting like a Porsche or something. I may have lied to him. I decided to stop lying to my guests.
Oh, when? Halfway through this? Or
I don't know. We'll work it out.
Nice.
Okay, first question.
Please.
Okay.
I
Basically,
don't have to answer it, do I?
Yeah, you do actually, because this is actually the most important question. Because to be honest, so far the audience has now sat for 1 hour 20 minutes, and they don't even really know anything about you other than a few beautiful stories.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the best way to give everyone kind of an idea about yourself is, okay, so you're now acting. You've done all this wonderful stuff. You know, your hair is still lustrous. It looks lustrous to us.
It does, man.
Okay. Where did it begin, though, right? Tell us about your origin story. What brought you to where you are? What were your drives and your motivations? What gets you out of bed in the morning? And don't say your partner.
That's like 4 questions. I
Yeah,
thought you said 1.
Yeah, I'm putting them all together.
You just made a melange. You just like put them all and just like, well, there it is.
Yeah, just...
Well, oh goodness, man. The origin story. So, like, why acting, perhaps? Is that it?
Basically, where did it begin? What was your inspiration?
Well, some people consider modeling acting, and they'd be wrong. So, if you were to think of modeling as acting, I shouldn't say that. But I started as a kid doing modeling. I sort of followed Mom into it. But as an... I gotta go way back, man. I'm so sorry.
No, go for it. This is the whole point.
All right. So my mom, who is also no longer with us, but it's been like 7, 8 years. Why do I keep talking about it? She was a very famous model. She was also a movie star. You know, she was like a Bollywood movie star. And if that wasn't enough things, she also was a martial art champion. She was a champion of the world 3 times.
Wow.
In the 70s. And so she was a black belt in karate and a second Dan, or second degree black belt in jiu-jitsu. And she studied about 13 years all over the world. And she studied in Germany and Japan and just everywhere. So so she modeled as a young person. And when Dad met her, and somewhere along the line, I had been sort of seen somewhere as a 6-year-old, and someone reached out to me. And then they found out that Mom was Mom and whatnot, and they put me in a couple commercials. And so, you know, I worked for, like, I did a Pepsi spot as a kid. There was some ice cream commercial, which I remember, I was such a serious, I've become so dumb in my, behind me, there's the Batmobile. There's a Batmobile, like, right there.
Oh, yeah, I see it.
At any rate. But when I was a kid, I was very serious. And there was this ice cream commercial. And, you know, we're in 35-degree weather, hottest goddamn weather, and we're out in the park, and it's beautiful. And we have to eat these ice cream cones. There's no lines or anything. You just pull it out, you smile, you eat it, whatever. But over the course of the day, that feels too high. I really don't like this angle. Doesn't matter. So those were some of the things I said then as a 6-year-old. I was like, where's my Play-Doh? So my Play-Doh trailer for the kids. And so the ice cream started melting, and they had to go back and they had to get more. And then they ended up going to, there was a guy with a push cart pushing ice creams, and then they bought him out off the brand that we were selling. And then at some point, the directors or the PAs, they're running around going, save the wrappers, don't rip the wrappers, So we carefully opened the back of the wrappers, and they took the wrappers. It's weird that I can't see my hands. I'm Italian, but just in the hands. And we took other ice cream that was not the brand that the commercial was for. And they stuck the wrong ice cream into the wrappers so we could have that just on second on screen. You're like, ah. And I was such a serious kid. I was like, this is wrong. These are lies. You can't do this. I won't stand it. I was just so mad, you know. And I should have realized then, oh, it's film. It's all bunk. It's just pure lies. You know what I mean? I should have realized that. But so I did commercials and some other modeling and whatever it was till about age 9. Then I entered what I like to call the fugly years, and then that was awkward for a decade. But I didn't have any other interest in the acting thing. Modeling was certainly not on the table for me. But I went into a family business. We had a video store for about 20 years. I had it for the last 10. The parents had it for the first 10 in this country. And we, right when I was closing up shop. It was 2007. I met this young lady. Her name is Melanie Richard. It's spelled Richard, but she's French, so she put a little zhuzh on it. Anyway, so old Melanie Richard. And she was kind of a costumer, and I think makeup, and maybe one other thing. Forgive me, Melanie. And the second Melanie in my life, the other one's downstairs, judging me silently, and sometimes not silently. And she introduced me to all these young kind of filmmakers, and it was like James Rexigler, old Luke Black, Mike Peterson, these guys, and Spencer Estabrook, and they were all starting out filmmakers. And these chaps allowed me to stand in the background of their movies. They allowed me to just be on set and sort of see it, and I loved it, man. I just absolutely loved it. So the film thing kind of happened because I closed down a shop, a business that I was there 7 days a week. I mean, literally 7 days a week. And I had nothing to do, and I had no skills. And she just kind of invited me. She's like, "Oh, they're making this movie, and they need a Fijian guy." And I'm like, "Well, I'm not white, so sure." Just paint me up and whatever it is. And I played a 1930s Fijian guy. And that's sort of the start of it. That was the start of it. And at some point, you're kind of like, okay, I have a few things to say. Not many. I have a few things to say. I've got a voice. I maybe need to be seen in the film or in the project. I can't just, and you're going through it and you're pausing it and you just capture yourself like just that nanosecond. Like,
Yeah.
Look, I was in. No, you weren't. And I had to get, I was always very nervous about auditioning, and I still am. Very nervous. But you had to do that. You had to break that thing. You had to go try and fail and try and fail and try and fail, and then start getting parts. So that was sort of film. That doesn't tell you where I'm from or anything. I know there was more things in there. You bumped 4 questions into one. What was another part of that? Oh, what gets you up in the morning?
Yeah, what gets you up in the morning? I mean, what's your drive to keep doing it?
Oh, honestly, I'm not. Well, I don't want to sound like, I'm trying to fish for something here, but I'm not good at it yet. And it's been 10 years, and I know I'm not good at it yet because I have actually been good a couple of times. You've done something, and the way it affected another person, or you were in a scene and they said something, and there was just something that pulled out, and you're like, where did that even? What was? I didn't practice that. I didn't. So there have been moments,
Yeah.
and very few, very few. I can count them on one hand. And the sad fact is, maybe I've been on 300 sets, maybe more. I don't know. And to be able to say I was good less than 5 times is my own, not private now, shame, but I think there's a capacity there, man. I think there's something there to so part of getting out of bed is to try and get that feel again, to try and have that moment again, and you know how the person you are now is still the person who you were in those formative years. So if kids made fun of your fill in the blank, you're still that person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I used to hate how thin my wrists were as a kid. And even in summer, I'd wear a sweater down to my wrist and I'd fold it up over. And I always used to wear the biggest watches, and I still do, except for when this thing happened, time stopped meaning anything and we stopped leaving the house, so I don't wear watches anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just because it's a thing kids made fun of or something. So you still have that. And so sadly, I still look at myself often. No, not often anymore, but I still look at myself as, oh, there's that extra. There's that BG performer who is stepping up. Oh, look at him trying to whatever. So you still have that a little bit. So it's not coming from a nice place. I'm not working. It's not from some altruistic, like, oh, God, I just love the work. It's more like I'm still telling people to shut up. My work is still telling people, like, I'm here, or whatever. I know that was part of that question. What other things did you shove in there?
Well, I can't even remember now because you've answered it
Okay.
beautifully. I mean, basically, it's just to kind of get a wee bit of a feel for where you came from into acting, how you got where you are, and you've
Right.
done that. You've given us a nice kind of idea of where it started, and that's it. It's just so people know who you are. You've introduced yourself, and now after an hour and 30 minutes, people know why you got into acting. This show runs swimmingly.
I did it because of spite.
So
No,
you
no, no.
actually mentioned.
Sorry, I did it because I was bored. I'm still doing it because of spite. That's the answer.
Right, gotcha. So you actually mentioned earlier that you're self-taught. Is that right? Did I pick that up right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So you've never had a mentor or any sort of training at all? Have you? So how have you managed to get where you are then without?
You mean here with you, sitting in my office on this crappy?
Hey, don't belittle it. You're talking to one of Scotland's.
That's it. I'm talking to
Yeah,
one of Scotland's.
I can't even come up with anything
Oh
exotic
dear.
sounding.
Nice. Well, actually, sorry. What the hell was the question again? I know there was a question in there. I've forgotten it.
Okay, so you're self-taught. You didn't
Oh, yeah,
have a mentor.
yeah.
So I mean, how have you managed it? Because I know a lot of people do work hard and they graft, and some people take mentors. But you even said you came a wee bit later into the game as
Yeah,
well. So
yeah, that's the real. I wish I didn't, but I came into the game, as you said, which is what we say, and the Muggles don't. So don't give away our secrets. No, I came into the thing when I was 37, way too late.
yeah,
Because if I came in at 27, those were the golden years, I'd say. I was very pretty at 27. I'd finally grown into my nose and ears, and I was comfortable. And I wish I'd started then, because I would have been putting things for 10 years as I slowly started losing my looks. They were just going, he has to be in it. He's really pretty, which is the same exact way Mom got into movies, because she was not a great actor at all, man. She was really stiff. And she was just like, she was a model, and she
yeah,
didn't have any, but she was so beautiful. They're like, one, she needs to be in the movie, and two, she needs to be the star of that movie. But I feel I would have had a 10-year career of just being when they needed a sort of a gentleman who had gone to Hanson School or something. And in those 10 years, I hopefully would have learned how to act. I would have learned the business just through kind of community.
yeah,
And then at 37, as Father Time started ravishing every part of me, I would have been the guy who knew everything. Not everything, but I'd have been the guy who'd been in everything. And then that would have been nice, man. And now maybe I'd be directing or doing some other goddamn thing, and not still scrounging around. But so I feel I started too late. And also part of this thing of failing and not failing, or how you deal with failure, I never wanted to take it very seriously. If you talked to me a few years ago, before we allowed you in our great country, I would have had a different answer. Um, it, it was due to the fear of failure. I never wanted to put as much time or effort into this world. So I felt like if I knew nothing and I went out and auditioned for something and it sucked and I sucked and he went, no, you're terrible. You should do something else. I was like, yeah, great, bye. And I could walk away from that. But if I'd gone to some school and I'd spent $3,000 or $10,000 and came up with some piece of paper at the end of it saying that I can act, I am an actor, and I went and I did that audition and I went, whoa, boy, I don't like any of your choices, man. Maybe just, go do something. It would have shattered me. So it was this weird defensive mechanism to be like, hey, man, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just, it's the same. It's one of the reasons I like volunteering so much. I used to volunteer a lot more than now, but there's a seniors lodge up the road from us, and I was their brown Santa for 5 years. Their off-white Santa, and over that Christmas period, you'd be there twice a week at least. Not doing Santa, that was just one day, but you're sort of there doing their shows and whatever. And if there was ever a problem, the boss got mad, they came out and they're just like, and they're, you're in the kitchen, and they're just cutting down all the people there for something they've done or not done. I just look there and just have this thing. I'm like, well, they're not talking about me. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm literally a volunteer. I can just leave. I'm not being paid for this. I'm here just because I'm bored. You know what I mean? And the better half, Melanie, was actually an activities coordinator for years, so she just forced me into volunteer. I can't remember what something like that. But
indentured volunteering.
Yes. And it was a very it was a lovely safety blanket to have, where you're like, and the same thing with acting. It was just the very same thing. If I failed, so be it. So be it. If someone else succeeded, someone else moved past, I'm like, well, they did 5 years of school. 5 years of schooling in LA. Good for them. I'm happy they've done, they're doing the same work I'm doing and whatnot. So that was part of it. And then this other thing started happening, which was I was working all the time. Like in March, before this world became different, I had six projects on the go, 6 projects in March.
Well done. Yep.
And of course, we didn't get we only shot the first one. I only shot 2 days on the small film, but and having 6 projects in a month was not some crazy, it wasn't some odd thing for me. I remember when we were moving into this house, it took a really long time because we were closing down a house that was my parents' house, and then we had a rental property, and we had this video store that closed down, and we had this little art gallery kind of business, and we just shoved everything in some homes, and we were trying to move, and it was tremendously difficult. And I was telling some friends, I was like, hey, I'm going to take a break from acting for the first time, basically however many years, 7 years, 10 years. And they're like, oh, wow, you're taking a break? Yeah, I'm taking a break. I'm not answering the phones. I'm not doing anything. Oh, how long is the break for? I'm like, 2 months. It's a 2-month break. And they'd laugh. They were like, 2 months? I haven't worked in 6 months. Like, who gives a shit? 2 months. What is that? And honest to God, even then, which was now 2.5 years ago, that's when we moved, that would be 8 jobs. That was 8 jobs I decided I wouldn't do. You know what I mean? That is what 2 months is. One job a week, and I've been very lucky. I've done basically a job a week for the last 3 years.
That's fantastic.
I couldn't do schooling. Schooling was the amount of time and effort you really want to put into school. Like if you really want to learn something, you know what I mean? And you're paying all this money, and you love your classmates, and you just really want to put the effort in to even something as silly as learning a scene and then shooting that scene, like learning a scene 1 week and shooting it and then critiquing it or something. So Um, I'm so bad at learning lines. It would have taken all my time up, and so at some point, the people I started with, um, friends, peers, whatever, you look at their CVs, and their CVs are like this big, and it's all classes, and their work is this big.
Yeah.
And mine was exactly the opposite. It was just all work, and then like has done some martial arts, has a skill, likes basketball, but has old man knees or whatever. Um, and I decided I would learn on on sets. And you see the person, you see that guy who is doing it better than you, or that lady who's doing it better than you. And there's a moment somewhere where everything's calm and quiet, and they're not off the side thinking about what they're going to do, and they're eating food or whatever it is. And you can go up to them and you're like, when you made that face, when you said that thing, what do you think? Like, what did you do? And they'll just tell you, man, they're pretty nice people.
Mm-hmm.
Artists in general are kind of warm and willing, I think, to give. Not in all cases, but in most all cases. And then you're like, oh, wonderful! I will steal that and put it in your pocket, for some other day.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, but it's weird. This has come full circle because I often think now, God, I wish I did some schooling. That does come up now. It's like, I wish I took some time, a couple
Yeah.
years ago, and did it. Because now I think it would screw up everything for me. I think it would just mess with my head, you know. Um, but it has happened a couple times where I'm like, oh, I'm out of my depth. Out of my depth. I guess there's a bit of a story. I could do a little story. I don't know.
No, that's good. That's great.
Okay. Are we? Can I keep talking about this?
Keep talking.
All
Go,
right.
go, go.
So there's a filmmaker who had done this beautiful web series, a very intelligent web series, and then they were making a film, a feature film. The web series was a feature film. They just didn't have the money for it, so they shot it over 2 years, 12 episodes, and had this thing. But we're shooting this film, and it's a scene with three or four other, uh, three other girls in this little dining thing. There's an ex of mine, and there's the lady I'm currently with, and then a friend. And the director's talking to me, and he's like, okay, and there's an argument. It's just starting to develop, and it's getting not comfortable for the other people at this dinner table. And I should be having an aside conversation with my girlfriend, but it's out in the world. And the director's like, okay, knock that down half. Bring that down to half. I'm like, okay. And I'm trying to think, what is half of what I just did? And he goes, I'll bring that up a quarter. Like, bring that up just a bit. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, yeah. Okay. And then my favorite one is, he says to me, he says, listen, she is now, you're in trouble, fine. She is now making fun of you in this situation. And you're done. You're done with it. You're going to stand up for yourself. You don't care who else is watching or if you hear this. You're going to stand up for yourself. And I'm like, oh, hey, cool. I understand fighting between. I heard my parents fight. Mom drank, dad didn't. That I'm aware of what adults sound like. So I'm like, oh, no, good. I'm bringing up my, my peacemaking as a child and bringing all these things to bear. And I'm just about to go, and he's like, camera set, whatever. And he turns to me and he goes, you don't believe what you're saying. What? I'm like, man, you just pulled the rug from. I'm going to stand up to this woman in front of these other people. I don't think what I'm. And so, in that particular situation, and a few others, I was like, God damn it! I wish I went to school. Do you know what I mean? I wish I went.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you paint yourself into a corner. It's your own doing. You did it. You pushed yourself in that corner, and literally, you don't have the tools to leave that corner. You have no way of getting out. And if you'd gone to school, there'd be a chart. There'd be this bloody chart, you know what I mean? And it'd be like, okay, so this happens, and then as an actor and as a human, you can come out of it in different ways, but you attack it the same way. You know what I mean? and everyone who went to that school will attack it like that. And it might not be the best thing, it might not be the best thing you've ever seen or whatever, but it will get you out of that situation, and you can move on, and you can just be back in the world that you're in. Um, but I don't have access to that chart.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wish I did. I think everything's fear-based. I wonder if everything in life is fear-based. You know what I mean? Like, you just, oh, if I ask for help on, maybe they'll think, or like, oh, I wonder if I can ask that woman out because she's taller than I am, or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
Every goddamn thing that we are is fear-based, and that sucks. And maybe older people, as they get closer to the end of it, are less fear-based and therefore so much more racist. I don't know. Whatever. But yeah, man, it might be that. So the idea is to try and be braver, to try. So there you go.
Excellent. Thank you for that. That was good. Perfect. Nice anecdotes. Gary McLean, your favorite person.
How's he
Honestly,
spelled?
this guy, like, I like Gary. We had a great chat, but honestly, he's feeling a bit needy now.
He's okay.
He's actually asking a really good question, though.
Oh, good.
What was your most challenging scene in terms of emotional presentation, anger, sadness, etc.?
Mostly, like Gary, he's in the same boat. I find it difficult to get into costumes because I lie on my what size I am. So mostly it's just holding in my tummy through the whole day. That's difficult. But it's actually interesting. I was just thinking about something. It was rehearsing versus not rehearsing, or how much you rehearse. I was having a conversation with someone who was really interested in rehearsing things almost to death, I would say. And depending on your schooling and whatnot, I think those people can still put that much work into it and know it backwards and forwards, and still somehow on the day make it like these are fresh ideas coming to them at the second. But I am not those people. I need to. Something has to surprise you, or do something, or they have to be different, or you have to be different, or even if it's not on the page, you go in there and you have a headache. Well, now your character has a headache, and then you just play it the way it is at that second. But I obviously I rehearse and I try to learn my things. But recently, somewhere last year, recently like a glacier, there was a small project made here, and it was called Hasek, I believe, Hasek, and it was up for a Stinger Award. So it went against real big budget things. And this was just a thing made by a young filmmaker and his brother and a little tiny team. And they made this film about an immigrant. And I want to say he was from Afghanistan. He might have been from Syria. I don't know. I don't read full scripts. I read my parts. And so it was about this young fellow who came to Canada, and he just sort of lost his way, and he started to drink, and it was all this. And then there was this older gentleman, who looked a lot like me, who was his landlord, kind of friend. And I've been in Canada for 10, 12, 13 years, and I had gone through all of that nonsense. I'd lost ties with my family, started to drink, I'd lost my way, and then I could see a lot of myself in this young fellow. So I had a fairly small part. It was maybe 4 scenes or 5 scenes. There was this one that I was quite nervous about, and it was 4 pages, or maybe 4.5. It was 4.5 pages, which, by the way, for you math kids, it's 5 pages. If it's on the 5th page, it's 5 pages. I don't care if it's 4.5. But anyway, so it was 5-page goddamn speech, and no interruptions. It was just me talking, and as you know, I don't like talking for an abundance amount of time. But,
no.
But
you're a humble man.
and it was in a full Afghani accent, and it was a speech, and I was talking to this young fellow, and we were up in Nose Hill, and I sat, and he was down and out, and I went and sat down next to him, and I told him the story about my time in Canada, and how difficult it was, and for him to straighten up, basically. I was very nervous about it, man. I was very nervous about this thing. But it was written really well. And when things are written well and they make sense, you can kind of remember them better. Do you know what I mean? And if
Mm-hmm.
dialogue is written really well, my question to you will absolutely force you to answer it in one way, and your answer will make me answer something, and it makes sense. Now it's not as good because it's just one person talking, but it's still written very well. And it was kind of a chronological thing of this story. And I was reading it, and I was practicing it, and I'm mowing the lawn, I'm practicing it in the shower, and I'm practicing it. And I noticed in the shower, at my most vulnerable, like all lads, listen, men, if you need to cry, do it in the shower. Take 1 minute out of your life and cry in the shower, and then come out and be a man. You learn that from The Godfather. No. Anyway, I was getting emotional when I was doing this scene in the shower, and it was coming up to about 3 days before we were going to shoot it, and I realized, and it was diminishing returns. Every time I did it, it was less. I was less emotional. I was less whatever. And I realized, I was like, oh my God, I will not, on the day, I'm not going to be able to do the scene properly. I'll remember every word perfectly and every comma, but I am not going to be able to give anything to this other than, a very lackluster thing. And I realized I can't rehearse this anymore. I just can't rehearse this anymore. It is becoming less interesting, less surprising. It means less every single time I say it. And I forced myself to stop doing it. And I just went, I'm not studying it the last 3 days. I'm just not. And on the day, I will certainly look at it. There's weird acting techniques where they're like, oh, read the lines and read them like you're a robot. And read the lines and tap your chest. Break down the words to syllables and be like, I was doing this and do that. And it tries to teach a different part of your brain to read it and learn it in a monotone way that you know the words, but there's nothing on it. And what you bring on it is what you bring on it on the day and what the other actors are giving you and how you feel and how the sun is shining and you just bring it. But I can't learn like that. I've tried learning like that, but I can't. You read the lines and there's something's capitalized and there's an exclamation. You just say it. You just say it in character. And it's not the best. But so I purposely didn't learn that as well as I should have. When we go up and we're gonna shoot this, right? And everyone's like, okay, here it is, here's the scene, and I see the man and I have to walk over and the director told me going into it he wanted to shoot it as a one shot. So you had to do it, top to tail. You just had to do it. And I'm like, okay. And so sure enough, I walk, I know my mark, and I sit down next to this guy, and he is pretending not to listen to me. And that's got to be difficult. This young actor, who, by the way, was also up for a Stinger Award. I had never been up for any awards. Thanks, you sons of bitches. Anyway, as an aside, doesn't matter. But anyway, so he is pretending not to listen to me, and once in a while during the story, he'll look at me and not meet my eyes. That's his work. And he also has to not fall asleep through my speech. He's doing two things. And so we go and we do the scene, and we do it. And I remember it all, and then we finished. And they were like, "Oh, great!" And Jeff's like, "Hey, great, that's great, wonderful, nice." And do you think we could do it again? And I'm like, "Shit, yeah, man. Of course we can do it again because I literally just did the words. Like I was so scared, I just gave you the words, start to finish. Please, yeah, of course we'll do it again." So we start doing it again. And I say the word, either I say the word education or schooling. So I say the wrong word. And it's about halfway through. It's about 2 pages in, and he stops me. And he's like, hey, man, blah, blah, could you do the right thing? And I was like, please don't stop me again. If I say the wrong word, just please, let's just do it, man. This is really hard. I'm doing a goddamn accent. You sent me 2 videotapes. A man who's speaking Afghani, he's speaking English with an Afghani accent on the news, and he sent me this old man who's speaking in this pattern. And so I'm taking the pattern from the old man, and I'm taking the accent from the young man, and I'm remembering 4.5 goddamn pages of speech. Please, if I make a mistake, just let me fight for it. Please don't. And he goes, okay, and I go, thank you. And so we shoot it a 3rd time, and there's a camera thing. Cool. and then we shoot it a fourth time. So we're up on the Nose Hill Park in the grass, and there's a bit of chill in the air, a bit of chill in the air. Kid is sitting there, I'm sitting next to him, hunkered down next to him, and I'm talking about how I was drinking, and it got really bad, and I hit my 5th year in Canada, and now I've lost my I don't have a job anymore, I've lost my house, and I'm on the street. And sometimes these people would come by, and they would spit on me and yell at me and whatever. And I noticed out of the fog that there was this little old woman, standing there. She was standing above me, and I thought something, she's going to protect myself a bit. And she asks me if I need help. And I'm like, what are you talking to me for? What is this? What are you Italian for? It's something like that. And she asks me what I need. And for some reason, I said, I need to phone my mom. I want to talk to my mom, in Scotsman. And she goes into this little convenience store where I was lying outside, and she buys a goddamn phone card. She just buys a $5 phone card, and she was going to call the number for me because I can't even see straight. And she calls for me for nothing. And I pick up the phone, and my brother's on the phone. And I start talking to him. And I'm talking in Arabic, so I have to have a few words in there, I think. And I'm like, hey, how are you doing, whatever? And he just starts screaming at me, and I don't know why. And I was just like, I just wanted to talk to mom. And I didn't realize that I called a month too late. And as I'm saying that, the hair starts standing up on my arms and on my Sean Connery, as we've already discussed in the pre-interview. You didn't get to hear that, kids. And the wind comes up and it hits me in the back of the neck, and the hair stands up. And I was like, what is this feeling? What is happening now? I'm just going to talk about my mom, and I just missed her. And there isn't even a line saying she's dead, but we know I missed her. And I take a and I just decided I'd lean into it. Whatever that feeling was, I didn't know what it was. I leaned into it. And I take a breath in, and I go, do you understand? Do you understand what I'm saying? And a tear falls out of my eye. And I go, I'm sorry. That was not a line. I'm basically telling the actor and the production, with staying in character, with the accent, I'm like, I'm so sorry. But in character. And I wipe it, and I continue on, and I finish the scene. And the scene is about half a page more after that moment. And I stand up, and I demand that this kid calls his mom while he still can, because he knows she's alive. And that's it, man. I'm going to grab his phone, and I'm calling his mom, because he can't be like me. And that's the scene, and it's done. And everyone's like, and I'm like, oh, where did that come from? What was that? What was that? And the director's like, I'm not, whatever he was saying, he was very happy. Everyone was very happy, and I'd never felt better in my life. And he goes, that was amazing, man. Do you think you could do just one more? And I'm like, hell yeah, we can. I've never felt so good in my life. This is amazing. That's the best thing I've ever done. Yeah. And if I was a smart man, I'd say, could you punch in and we just do this last couple paragraphs while I'm still in this thing? A smart man would have said that, but I was like, no. And I got up and I went, shot the scene again. I walked, hit my mark, sat down, did the whole story, top to tail, correct accent, couple beats, did the whole thing. But there was nothing on it, man. There was nothing on it. There was no moment. It was just a scene. And I'd have been perfectly comfortable with that scene, that fifth take. I'd have been perfectly comfortable with that being out in the world. So my, as everything is, it has two sides, good people on both sides. That thing. No. He was actually misquoted on that, which is terrible. It's the only time he's ever been misquoted, because that guy's a son of a bitch. I'll get back to that if you want. But anyway, the two sides of that were, I was as proud, I was as chuffed as you could be with being able to do that. And I mean, on the line, brother, on the line. Do you mean, which eye do you want the tear to fall out of? It was amazing. The other side of that was, I could never do it again. And that was a terrible realization, because if you want to call yourself a professional, and I don't care what field you're in, professional is not better than you. A professional photographer is not better than a goddamn amateur photographer who has a $500 camera. He is not. A professional is about being able to recreate the thing again and again. Professional means consistency. That is all it means. Any idiot and others can do the world's greatest scene that one time in the most perfect. If the moment is perfect and you are perfect for that character, that scene, that thing, and you have the right, you can be better than anyone in the world. But a professional can continue doing it. And so, yeah, I was very sad. I was as high as I've been and as low as I've been in the span of 15 minutes when I
Yeah.
realized I couldn't get there again. And maybe if we did 30 takes, yeah, there might have been one. I might have gotten one more, maybe. I don't think I'd have hit it on the line, though, man. I mean, that was something. It was the line. You know? So, yeah, it's that terrible realization of like, oh, you don't know what you're doing still. Um, Another thing about being professional is you will work with anyone. You do your job. If your job is a boom operator, you will be a boom operator. You don't care what the project is or says or the people around you, generally speaking. And I've always thought, as crew, I've always thought the people working behind the camera were more professional than us. Certainly me. But even us as a whole, because we have this thing of like, wow, face will be seen in it. I don't want to work. I don't want to work on a Harvey Weinstein film or whatever. Whatever the case is, you have
Yeah.
that little bit of say. Um, so very recently, there's a project. There's a few features I'm involved with right now, which are going to start fairly quickly. And so I got a role in this thing, and there are a few actors in town who, on their social media and whatnot, they are a little bit. It's not a political thing. I think I can say it. They're pretty racist. I'll say it. They're fairly bigoted
Yeah.
kind of
Well,
people.
there's bound to be.
Of course, well, we're in Alberta. But it's weird in the film industry because, again, no, seriously, Alberta, Idaho, man, these are the two places. Hold on.
Yeah.
But you think in the liberal arts, these people should be a little bit more liberal, I guess. I don't mean political stance. You can hate whomever is running the country, and I think all politicians are the worst people in the world, even if they start off being lovely and wonderful and want to help little people. Very shortly, they become these other humans,
Mhm.
and that's fine. But yeah, I'm gonna work on this project, I think, and I realized that there's a person I don't want to see on set. I just want to see them, and so I'm talking to the filmmaker, and I'm sort of saying I generally like to have less stress on films. You really need to feel safe on a set. You need to be able to reach anywhere. If it is something that needs something emotional, you need to feel very comfortable because you are out there and you are naked. You are a fool. You're just running around and you're being a fool. You're like, okay, slide around on the floor now. Take your shirt off. Just be in boxers and roll around and then scream about your mother or kiss that cat or something. Whatever the hell it is. It's craziness that the things we've been asked to do are crazy. Um, and you need to feel like you have a safety net. And so I just didn't want to be around this person. And so I basically just said to the filmmaker, okay, well, let's both sleep on it tonight and think about this. Um, you know, this environment we were trying to create to make this thing. So I realized I'm not as professional as the next person. Because the next person would be like, oh, wow, this is a really good part. This is a really good part in the show, or I have a lead, or I have a few days, or there's this thing I've always wanted to do, and they're allowing me to do this thing. And sure, I don't, that other person shouldn't be in our industry even. They just shouldn't be around, man. They shouldn't be around saying their things. But those more professional than me people will go to work, and they'll smile, and they'll do their job, and they'll go home, and then they'll be like, I can't believe that person, and then they'll vent.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can do that, man. So yeah, that's another thing. Another thing of me not feeling 100% professional, you know. But I also feel there's always other projects. I always feel there's other things around the corner. At your lowest, you know, you come home, you come home, you've done an audition, you've done a callback, and you get that email, and they're like, sorry, you're not. And I'm like, Mal, you're taking me to the bakery. And she gets you in the car and we drive to a bakery, and then you drown your sorrows in some sort of delicious cake, and you come home, and there's an email saying, oh, hey, are you free? We've got this thing on or something. Can you do this one day thing? I'm like, yeah, and that's happened a few times to me, like specifically leaving the house to do errands for 3 hours and coming back and having bad news become good news.
Keep talking.
All right. So Calum is now starting his second job as a DJ Fresh West, whatever it is. I'd try and put haggis into that name, man. That's what I'd do. But, you know, I don't want to appropriate your culture. So, anyway, so I've been having these kinds of weird philosophical talks with myself of late.
Don't worry, I'm listening. I'm here.
Like, no, I don't mean that. I'm talking about these bigger issues where it's not something you want to think about on a film set. That, you know, and I know that the argument coming the other way would be like, hey, listen, that's their own personal blog, social media. That's their own personal thoughts. This is work. We're making a film, and as long as they don't do anything on my set, they're fine. And I'm like, awesome. So that lady in the park who made the phone call on the gentleman and definitely was talking about race and knew what she was doing, she lost her job. But when she was in the park, she was just a woman in the park strangling a dog, like we've all wanted to do. She wasn't representing her work, whatever the hell the work. I've already forgotten what her job was, what company she worked for. But she wasn't representing her work. She was just a person out in the sun trying to be terrible. So I think we have to be careful with what we say and what we put out in the world on social media, on things like this. You know, I mean, I'll show you, maybe I'll tell you. I made a list of things I'd like to talk about on this in case I went off topic, if that ever happened. And the list is two, it's grown now, but yesterday it was two things. It was just two things. And you're not going to be able to see this. Oh, you can't see this. But I'll just read it to you. So the first thing, it's underlined. It says children's book. And it's because I'm working on a children's book with a buddy of mine from Vancouver, because when this happened, we weren't working anymore. And the next thing underneath, there's only two things on the list. The next thing, it says list of enemies. That's all it says.
List of enemies.
List of enemies. Children's book and list of enemies. So you know what? I'm going to do this. I haven't done this before. I've certainly told a few of my friends I'm working on a children's book, but I haven't. I've been I've been holding back on how it's being made and what it is, and it's simply because of how slow I'm doing it. I didn't do any of the writing, by the way. I designed the characters and I'm doing the audio because I've kind of got an art background before the acting. As a child, I would draw. I had no friends, so I learned to draw and work with plasticine and stuff. But so I was hesitant to show anything because I'm so slow. And in the last 2 months, I've done a total of 15 pages, 15 drawings for this book. And there's 10 more pages to go.
Wow.
Before it's done. And of course now films are starting and I'm learning lines again, which is the worst thing in the world. I hate it. I have 4 scripts in my washroom right now as we speak. Another note to the young people out there, if I ever ask you to hold my script for me, it's been in my toilet. So just say no. Anyway, so I'm working on this children's book with my buddy who's written it, and he's written a bunch of books out of Vancouver. Like, the guy's written 20 books, but he's never written a child's book. And so now he wanted to branch out and make this thing. So it's a mixed media thing. And so I'm doing painting, drawing, obviously. I'm doing photography. And then the final piece, we need something to make it stand out. You know, when it's on Amazon, it's got to stand out. The final piece of it is I'm actually modeling the creatures. I'm making them out of plasticine or modeling clay. So, can I introduce you to one character?
Please.
Righty. Now, what's the name of the show? The book. I think it's Henry the Hare. And so, obviously, I'm not showing him because he's the main character. But here, guys, this is Bentley. Bentley the bear.
It's a
Bentley.
and he's wearing dungarees.
He looks like he came out of that goddamn Come On Eileen. He's got kicks. He has got, and the camera is, he's got little pockets, like a little bear butt.
And he's got a defined buttocks.
Yeah, well, they're pockets. But anyway, and now the other characters, I didn't want to show them. Well, one, because I don't want to, but the other reason is because they don't have eyes, the other characters. And it's because I noticed, and their faces, I've removed part of their faces because when you want to show all these other emotions, you just can't do it in plasticine. So I'm drawing the faces and the expressions. Anyway, bye Bentley. Bye everyone.
Bye Bentley.
He's one of six characters. That are in plasticine because they're young characters and they're all in the same world and they see each other differently than everyone else, and so they are made differently. The other characters in more adult figures and things that come in are going to be drawn or painted. They just aren't, you know. And I don't know if a kid would register when they're looking at a book and they see drawings and paintings, but I feel that they might feel the textures, they might see these other things, and of course my fingerprints are all in those damn things. It was the thing I could think of to stand out from the other, say, 45 books that come out that day. You know what I mean? And my buddy, even though he has a bestseller on Amazon thing for not a children's book, he had a best-selling book for 2 days. They gave him that little stamp, and he's like, "Take my badge away from me." All right, man. Just going over the characters, I kept drawing them, and I was just like, man, I can draw well. Like, I don't act well, but I can draw well. And but there are 100,000 people who can draw better than me. I'd say easy. There's 100,000 people who can draw better than me.
Yeah.
But from making plasticine, from making that intricate shit, that's not the number. You know what I mean? That is not the number. And I'll tell you, the first person I'm going to send a copy to is Nick Park from Aardman, from the guys who did Wallace and Gromit. They're getting the first copy of that book. And just as a thank you for all the lovely things they've done. But it was the only thing I could think of. I was like, okay, it'll be a little different. And at some point, I'll start a page. And you'll see how laborious this, because I can't use Photoshop, and erasing around photographs is the worst. It's too much work not to hopefully get a tiny bit of an audience, and that's the hope. Which is actually one of the things. The acting was always. You didn't ask this, but we don't have any kids that I know of. And I'd love to leave something behind. And if that thing that we leave behind is just one moment on one show that someone looks at and has a chuckle at or something, I will feel very satisfied. Very satisfied. So
cool.
This book, is going to be the most work I can do, the best work I can do at the time with my technology and with my hands. And when it's done, I'll be satisfied with it, and I hope some kid, somewhere, someone that would be like, "Oh, I love this mongoose." There's a mongoose character, and I forgot my name because again, I don't read things very well. But thank you very much for allowing me to show that stupid little thing. And
that's great.
At first, because I've had friends ask about the artwork, and I've sent them background. I've sent them the paintings that I've been working on for 2 months, as back. We've not seen a character. No one's seen a character yet, but you guys have.
Fantastic. But well, you need to get a haggis in there now.
Uh, just a haggis, as in just a haggis?
No, like the beastie, the haggis beastie.
Oh, I don't know that beastie.
You know,
to look that up after.
tiny little furry beastie with one set of legs shorter than the other.
Oh, so it hobbles around. It doesn't have a corrective shoe or a corrective hoof.
They run in circles. Great.
I will look that up, man, because I'm in charge of the look of the book, and my buddy has he doesn't have a veto power on that. Like I didn't have a veto on how he's written this lovely, lovely story about sharing and some other nonsense. So he gets no say. He just gets to suggest. So maybe, you know what?
Maybe.
We'll look for it behind the bush. There'll be a little guy.
Excellent. Chengis, we're going to wrap this up because the sound's a wee bit iffy as well. But and I actually think what I'd really like to do is get you on for another show.
Oh.
I think because we haven't even touched the tip. Like the iceberg, right? Right. Yeah. Well, basically we only got the tip, and then like there's still the rest that's exposed before the stuff that's hidden. The buttocks, shall we say, under the water.
The frozen buttocks, that is.
The icy buttocks of the iceberg. So I really would love to get you back on. And I'm thinking what we'll try and actually do, I'm hoping to kind of repeat some of the interviews as well when we're more open and get you into the studio.
Oh, lovely.
Because that way, I can stroke your shoulder or something suggestively mid-conversation.
I had a story about Sean Connery too, but I'll leave it. No.
And I want to see the glint of the hair properly. I'm just like, wow.
I don't like what this camera's done to my face though. I like the cell phone, man. It was
yeah. So what I'm going to do is we've covered so much. And what I'm going to leave, because I am going to get you back on. I'm sorry, you've got no option. I'm going to get you on a second time. I'm not going to do the quick fire questions today.
Okay.
Because I'm going to keep them for the next time, because I also want to get some different ones, because you've watched a couple of shows and I think you've probably prepped.
I don't think I have, man.
No?
No.
Oh, man.
No.
So, but I want to ask you one last question, and this is a question I ask all my guests. What could you pass on? What Yoda moment can you give to somebody who's coming into this industry, this crazy world? Is there any advice that you could impart for them so that they know they can be a bit more prepared than you and myself and everyone else who's already in it?
That's tough, man. That's tough because I've mostly done it wrong. And some by design and some not. Some to try and stand out and be that person who, whatever. But all of that carries a weight. If you come out and you say things, if you come out and you believe things, if you have strong opinions, and if you, like myself, have never worked a real job for any other human ever, I just never had a 9-to-5 job, you have a different mentality of being a business owner or a person who is just unto themselves versus a person who has to, look up and, again, English wasn't the first language, so I apologize. But if I wanted to be successful and I was young and I was starting out, I would take classes and I would learn and I would listen and I would not show my true self, whatever that is. Whatever your true self is, the person you are, the person you're becoming, those things, I would keep that. I would hold on to those things. I would be yes, sir, and no, sir, and I would be nice and polite. And yeah, I would do everything I didn't do. Do you know what I mean? Because the people who are successful in our town, the people who are successful, and they're all friends of mine, are very, very vanilla. And I'm not saying that they're white. You know they're white. I meant that goes without saying. They're all men and they're all white. They are vanilla when it comes to expressing their feelings and thoughts about real things that are happening, real things that are happening in the world that you can't ignore. Black Lives Matter, things like that. You
Yep.
can't ignore them, and a lot of them have a voice. They have a voice. They have fans, and by the way, you don't need fans today. You know what I mean? You've got Facebook, you've got YouTube. You have a voice. You just do. And in the most turmoil, turmoil I've seen in my many years around the sun, they haven't used their platforms for anything other than just, oh, it's sunny today, and look, I'm riding a bicycle, or hey, isn't it great? Isn't the world lovely? And yes, that's important. It's very important to keep, you know what I mean, people happy and connected. But they haven't used their platform for anything meaningful, like nothing, because it would adversely affect their brand or their whatever. It sort of does. You know, they're like, oh, who do you want to hire? Oh, these two guys are great. That one's mouthy. That one's opinionated. Do you know what I mean? And so I would really suggest to a young person who might not even fully know who they are. They might not even know who they are yet. They might not know what they stand for, whatever. I would ask them to keep that just below the surface until they really have a foothold in this industry, until they've learned, they've met all the people you need to meet, until you've glad-handed, until you've kissed the ring, until you've crawled on your knees, until you've done all that bullshit I never, ever did. And that, if there's any one piece of advice, I would say hold on to that thing that is you until you are in a place where you can talk and be and stand on that soapbox or whatever it is. And if you don't have any of those ideas, hey, that's great too, man. If being you is just nothing, then that's fine too. You know what I mean? We'll accept all of it. But you need to have something behind you before you become the person who says that thing. You just have to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it can be taken away. It can be. And I have a little bit of that in the back of my head. I've got a little bit of that, you know, where I'm like, if, and I don't know who that power is. Well, actually, I do. But anyway, if someone was to try and take this away from me and succeeded in taking this away from me, I can draw. You know what I mean? I have other outlets. I help friends all the time with their goddamn scripts. They send me their scripts. Oh, is this funny? Can you make? Okay, you know. So there's other outlets for, you know, creativity. So, I don't think the powers that be have any interest in you feeling like you don't need them, even if you totally do need them. Do you know what I mean? If you even have a bit of that sense where you're like, oh, this person's going to try and stand up all by themselves, if they don't have a lot of interest in you, there you go. That's terrible and cynical, but learn from all my mistakes, kids.
Well, there you go. The words of wisdom and experience.
Experience, wisdom.
Yeah. Now, I just want to say something to you.
Yeah.
Congratulations. You have now superseded Brendan Hunter on 2 fronts.
I'm sorry, who?
Brendan Hunter.
Oh.
Yeah,
Right.
you've now beaten him for the first question and the longest running episode.
That doesn't count. The question doesn't count, sir. There's an asterisk next to it. It's a wind aided. Sure, I ran the 100 in 9 point whatever, but wind aided. So
I don't know. I still think you took it. I'm giving it to you.
well, you know what I'll take. Well, first, thank you. Again, take anything they give you for free, kids. And that's what it's worth, by the way. I've been invited back, and I think that's a mistake.
No, never.
I will definitely. I will.
We're getting into the nitty gritty when you come back. But Chengis, I'm going to pop you into the green room,
Okay.
which you started in, which is basically limbo. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining. Thank you, Chengis, for joining. I hope everyone's enjoyed this chat. I'm going to pop him into the green room and then sign off, and I'll catch up with you in a couple of minutes, okay?
Okay. Thank
Okay,
you.
thanks very much, Chengis. Ladies and gentlemen, the wonderful Chengis Javeri. That was fantastic. I thoroughly enjoyed that, and I'm going to have him back because I really enjoyed that chat. But the sound quality I noticed just towards the end, I don't know what it was, just started to disappear on us a bit. So hopefully I'll be able to clean that up for us if there is any problems. But I think I heard him perfectly well, so I'm hoping everyone else was hearing him okay. But I'd like to get him in the studio. We could basically have that bare-chested knife fight. We could practice the bagpipes. We can do lots of weird and wonderful things. But thank you very much for joining this episode of A Scotsman Talks To. Do remember, if you do want to be a guest, it's this one I'm looking for. Do drop me an email on Calum, Lykan, Storyteller. We are always looking for new guests. Chengis was actually recommended to me. That's why he was a guest, and a great guest he was. And also, our next guest coming up is somebody that reached out to me because of this. And it's a gentleman called Curtis Dominic. So our next show coming on the 30th of this month is Curtis Dominic, and he will be our next guest on A Scotsman Talks To. But tonight's guest was Chengis Javeri, a wonderful Calgarian actor, wonderful man, handsome, charming, hair. I mean, it was all there. I mean, it was just, you can understand why he basically works constantly in the industry. He is in demand. He's a wonderful man. And ladies and gentlemen, it has, of course, been a pleasure having another episode and you spending time with us on A Scotsman Talks To. See you all next week.